Hey, let's have a quick little chat. So I was riding, I'm headed to the craft store. It's behind me now, I've parked. And I was thinking about this. So this has been an interesting year, not year, really. Well, it has been an interesting year, but even just this week has been pretty interesting. It's been pretty cool to experience. So, as you know, I'm launching through Ashland's Lens. I actually had my first studio day with an amazing young lady in Birmingham. Her name's Amina Price. Look her up. I think it's Soul Glow Productions. But anyway, this week, again, I had the studio time. So I recorded my first podcast, my first 2 podcast episodes. And in order to do that, I had to do something real big. I had to give my fear purpose. Even though I am absolutely afraid right now, I'm even nervous. I'm just praying that the Lord allows this podcast to touch someone in a positive way and not in a negative way. And that's been one of my hugest fears that I've experienced in preparation for this, was wondering, when I do this, even if I were to go live or something, am I going to say something that's going to hurt someone? Am I going to say something out of order? Am I going to say something that's a hindrance? Am I going to say something wrong? Or am I not going to say something perfectly? I'm a huge perfectionist, and I've had to work over the years to not be so much of a perfectionist to an extent. I do believe excellence is what is required of us, or is commanded of us. However, I had to learn that excellence does not mean perfection. I had to learn that excellence just means I'm doing it as best as I can, and as best as I can prepare to do it. As if I put work into it, and if I try my best, my hardest. Oftentimes, I remember growing up, I really didn't try my hardest, and it turned out pretty good, and people were cool with it. So I stopped trying my hardest. But then I had to come back and say, look, I got to give it my best. I got to put my best foot forward. And sometimes when you do that and it doesn't turn out perfect, it can negatively affect you in a certain way. Well, guess what? I've been afraid long enough. It's 2020 now. It's time to put some purpose on that fear. Let that fear I had to let that fear push me into a place of getting it done. So I come to ask you, are you putting purpose on your fear? Or are you letting that fear cause you to pause? Now, in my second episode, I think you'll be learning the title of it soon, and this may even sound a little bit familiar. But let me tell you, are you taking time to figure out what makes you afraid? I have learned, write down what makes me afraid. Take those things and write something that counteracts it. If I'm afraid that I'm going to say something wrong, then that means maybe I need to study a little bit harder in that area. Okay? If I'm afraid that people are going to be offended by what I say, then maybe I need to prepare a little bit more. Make sure I don't say things that are offensive in my normal conversations. Okay? So, I just really came here real short to say, look, it's time that we put purpose on our fear. Well, or we acknowledge the purpose of the fear. If the fear is here to stop you, then you need to counteract it. It's time to say, look, this fear can help push me. This fear can push me to study more. This fear can push me to prepare more. This fear can help push me to take my time and speak. If I'm afraid that I'm going to talk real fast, maybe I need to practice my public speaking or my private speaking in the mirror. Just saying. Everything can have a positive effect on you if you let it. So I just really want to say, put some purpose on that fear.